lovely morning we're having. A couple notes. I want to apologize first too that I'm reading because there is a lot of information here and I do not want to skip something. This is not my style. I'm just a verbatim guy. So, a couple notes on the format of this presentation. We really appreciate your time and you being here this Saturday morning. Need to breathe. Okay, we've tried to get a lot of information in this presentation. You will meet our counselors. That wasn't me that stated out. You will meet our counselors and hear from our key department heads and Superintendent Stockwell. There are some tables around the room for each city department and some of our partners. If you could please hold questions until the end. After the formal presentation, you will be here to hear from you directly. Hear your dreams for our city, our problem solve. Please visit the tables and speak directly to department heads, city staffs, and counselors. A big thank you to the St. Helens School District for your ongoing partnership and use of this great facility. This is my first time here. This is a beautiful school, Scott. Okay, so now we're going to get on with the presentation. Now I'm going to get out here and try to get loosened up. Maybe. Where am I putting this at? We're having this is the first one ever. This is our first one ever. So please be patient. Okay, here we go. So it is not the big button, it is the little button on the right for everybody. Okay, the City of St. Helens mission to provide quality and effective and efficient service to our citizens. By doing so, we will develop and preserve the highest possible quality of life for our residents, businesses, and visitors, provide a safe and healthy environment within a sound economic framework, provide leadership which is open and responsive to the needs of the community and works for the benefit of all. And we take that very, very seriously. A lot of thought into our mission. Okay, City Council goals. Effective and organizing structure. Number 2, enhance community engagement. Number 3, support and enhance a safe and livable environment. Number 4, economic development. And number 5, long-term planning. Okay, this is our city council, myself and the mayor, myself and the city councilors. Role of the city council, mayor, government. Let me just slow down. There we go. Sometimes that's all you have to do. Is just picture the room, you're all naked right now. That is worse. Okay, mayor serves a 2-year term. 4 council members serve a 4-year term, governed by the city charter. Council adopts ordinance forming St. Helens municipal code and resolution that are set policy or regulations. The mayor and councilor are all nonpartisan and represent all residents of the city. Okay, our boards and commissions. Community volunteer citizens like you are part of the vision. Members are appointed by the city council and help set goals. Our commissions are Arts and Cultural Commission, Budget Committee, Library Board, Parks and Trails Commission, Planning Commission, Youth Council, and we also have Friends of the Library in the Park. I want to recognize some people here. If you're on one of these commissions or are a friend of one of these, can you please stand? Please, come on. So let's give them a round of applause. There are ways to get involved in our community. You know, it's very easy to be a keyboard warrior this day and age and complain about all the stuff that's going wrong that you see as negative. But the way I was brought up, if you have a problem with something, you need to be part of the solution, not the problem. And this vision is part of the problem. So, big round of applause to Ben. I do know most of our friends and commissioners or commission board members by the name. I mean, this is a small community. You know, I love this town. So, and one other key note: if you are a St. Thomas resident and would like to be on the budget committee, please see me. I need to appoint somebody to it. Okay. How do we deliver services? Our professional and talent staff of 84 Longwood City Council partners and volunteers provide safe, clean drinking water, library and cultural programs and resources for youth and adults, sewage treatment, public safety and accountability, stormwater management, road maintenance, fiscal and legal administrative oversight, city planning and land use, building safety administration, parks are safe and well maintained, business license and economic development services, and recreation program for the community. Okay, operating revenue. Here's where it all happens. So you can see charge for services is the way, the main funding mechanism for the city. You can see your local tax is only 8%. We are the second lowest property tax in Columbia County. Thank you, Measure 5 and 50. I wish we could change that, but we can't. So we have to operate off of charges and services. Probably a big part of, by way of comparison, that local tax, Rainier gets $5.90 per thousand, we get $1.90.8 per thousand. So they get over 3 times from your property tax what we do. So we do a really good job on serving you guys on a limited amount of money. So, expense by department, of course, public works, that's your water, sewer, streets, curbs, street signs, a whole gamut of things. Community development, you know that we have the city has acquired riverfront property, the industrial property, and it also goes into other various areas. And then police are the 3 big ones there. Looking at the library for all they do on that little 3%, good job, Margaret. Okay, this is how it works. This is the breakdown of it. You guys are the boss. You guys are the one that hired me. I'm here to serve my community. And then from there, it breaks over to boards and commissions, which make recommendations to the city council, the judge and prosecutor, assist the city through our, we are the only court of record, so they're right up there. We are a court of record, which is a big deal. It's not a regular standard traffic court. It gives us a lot more teeth to be able to prosecute if somebody's out in our community thieving in the stores or their small businesses, that we can hold them accountable. First, other cities have to send it to the county decides whether they're going to take the case or not. So it's a huge service. Okay, then break down to city administrator, and then into the city recorder, finance, community development, police department, library, and public works. So now, I think I'm going to introduce Council President Morton, and Sue Nelson is our public works director. So I'm going to introduce them and then come on up.
Thank you. It's really good to be here. And without further ado, here's our department chairman, Susan.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody's time coming out here this morning, and thank you, Mayor, for the introduction. As he showed you before, there's a lot of parts to Public Works. It's not just one department. We oversee a lot of infrastructure in our city. And our mission statement is basically to enhance the livability and the quality of life for our citizens and our entire community. And we do this to accomplish the goals that the City Council has set out for us. This, you can see, is in direct support of 3 of the City Council goals that they have established. So what do we do every day? My goodness, there's not enough time here to go through everything that we do, so we're just going to give you a very brief overview. But on an average day, our water filtration plant filters over 1.5 million gallons of water that we distribute to the community. We treat the sewage, of course. We maintain about 56 miles of roadway within our city limits. And we do this with about 200 miles of pipeline that weaves throughout our city that carries the water, the sanitary sewer, and the storm drain. We also have between 5,000 and 6,000 structures. Those are manholes, cleanouts, catch basins, vaults, all different kinds of things that are in the ground. Most of those things you can't see. We like it that way. You can't see things. You don't want the sewers on top of the ground and things like that. So out of sight, out of mind. And if we don't hear from you, that means everything's working okay. So we're happy when we're not hearing a lot from our citizens. That means that everything's going well. We have a very hard-working crews out there. What have we done recently? Well, just in this past year, we did a couple of major storm drainage projects. One of them was on South 10th Street, where we installed about 1,100 feet of storm pipe, and we did this through a trenchless project. So the pipe is actually about 15 to 16 feet in the ground, and instead of digging through solid rock, we did a trenchless project where they drilled the pipes through the ground. It limited the amount of actual excavation that they had to do. We also did all of the design, the inspection, the bidding, the project management. We did all that in-house, which saved a lot of money and time. And the project came in on budget and came in ahead of schedule. So we were really pleased with that particular project. We also did crack sealing, which is the process that you can see down here in this corner. A contractor comes in and does that for us. We seal cracks on a little over 2 miles of roadway within the city. That's a very cost-effective way of preserving the streets without having to repave, which costs a tremendous amount more. But when we can do the crack sealing, it really prolongs the life of our roadways. We also worked on the branding and wayfinding signage installation. That was a grant that the city received, and you have probably noticed some new signs around town. There's 3 larger signs that are for vehicle direction, and then multiple smaller signs that are on the little posts. Those are for bicycle and pedestrian direction to a lot of our parks and other facilities within our city. So the Public Works Department helped with that, installing all of the bicycle and pedestrian signage, and then they helped prepare the signs for the installation for the 3 large vehicle signs, and also the kiosk. We also installed the kiosk and got that prepared. So we've really done a lot of work in this last year, and in this upcoming year, in 2020, we hope to have the sidewalks on North Fredonia completed. We are also working on a grant project to do sidewalk between Gable Road, where the county is doing the improvements on Gable Road, over to Sykes Road. So we received a grant to be able to connect that sidewalk up there. We hope to have that out to bid before the end of the year, although we won't see the construction until next year on that. We're also going to be working on updating our master plans for stormwater and sanitary sewer. We hope to, with the county, complete the Gable Road project here in the next couple of months. That's actually right now a county road, and it is a county project, but the city was a co-applicant on that grant application, and that's literally something that I started working on practically the day I started working with the city, which was 19 years ago now. And so after all that time, we're happy to see something finally come to fruition. Went a little bit too fast. Also under Public Works is the Parks and Trails Commission and the Parks Department. Those fall under the umbrella of Public Works. And the Parks Department fully is under the council goal number 3. So they're here to enhance our historic resources and provide safe and livable spaces for our community. That's very important, and we really couldn't do the projects without our great friends group, which the mayor touched on, having volunteers and friends groups, so important to our community. If you want to be involved with the city, volunteer for one of these groups. They're wonderful people, they do great things, and they help so much, especially with our Parks Department, in furthering those goals and ensuring that we have those safe and livable spaces for our community. But our Parks Department hosts a lot of activities. We have the Citizens Day in the park that we just had the 3rd one last summer, and hopefully we'll have another one this summer. A great event, and then one of the wonderful things that we were able to do over this last year was complete the expansion of the Veterans Memorial at McCormick Park. And if you haven't been out there to see that yet, it's a beautiful new facility with a beautiful new memorial wall. You can see a little bit of it in this lower right-hand picture there. That was something that was, again, mostly grant-funded, but was also supplemented with a lot of work with our Parks crew and our Public Works crew to complete. So we're very proud of that. Coming up in this next year, in 2020, we will be seeing some improvements at Campbell Park. We'll be seeing some improvements at Godfrey Park. You'll also see the new Dalton Lake Nature Preserve and see some trail markers and kiosks and a bike rack and some other improvements out there. And that should all be coming here in the next year. And again, most of this work is done with either grant funds or with our wonderful volunteers that have either donated time or materials to make these things happen. I can't stress that enough, we really can't do all of these things without these people. So we're so appreciative of that. And that's, again, just such a brief overview of our Public Works Department. And now we're going to want to talk a little bit about public safety and the police department. And so I'm going to turn this over to Chief Greenway and Councilor Locke, who oversees the police.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for coming today. I'm Councilor Keith Locke. I've been over the police for almost all my tenure. And lately I've been over the Boise Cascade Mill. So a little update on that. We're cleaning it up over there a little at a time. And probably this spring, you'll notice we're going to be doing some rock removal over there so that we can have more land to develop. All the flat lands have been used up, so we're going to make it so we can bring some more businesses in town. But it's a process of getting it cleaned up and ready to go. So anyway, our police chief, Brian Greenway, if you haven't met him, he's a fantastic guy, and we appreciate him.
Thank you, Councilor. Thanks everybody for being here. I have 8 minutes. I'm told to talk. If you work for me, you'll know that I can't get my first sentence out in 8 minutes. I kind of trail on. So I like to talk. I'm not going to, try to keep from the slides because everybody can read and everything. But I am responsible for the public safety of St. Helens. I've been here now a year and a half, replacing Terry Moss. And I got to tell you, this is my 30th year in law enforcement, and absolutely one of the finest police departments I've ever come across, and I sincerely mean that. And for those of you who know or don't know, I came from Las Vegas Metropolitan Department, where I spent 25 years in the city, 2.2 million people, 7th largest agency. And for me to say that this is one of the finest agencies that I've ever had the pleasure to be associated with is something. So, our vision, our values are up there One of the things that we have a goal inside the police department is to make the city of St. Helens the safest community in Oregon. And that's actually achievable. It's achievable. Our officers go out every day. Our non-sworn staff work every day hard for the community. We actually serve you. We serve the citizens and the residents of St. Helens. Let's see if I can get this here. Okay. So our police department's 20 sworn officers. One of the areas that is a challenge is that we need more cops. Cops matter. Cops make a difference in our community. Do we have enough? No. Okay. But I can't go to our budget committee and ask for additional resources without cleaning internally first, that we restructure and reorganize our department and make sure that we're using our resources effective way possible. You can see our compromise, and this information is from 2018, and the reasons that because we do our annual report about February 1st when we get all the information from CCOM and from our report management system, and then we comprise that. But I will say that there's not going to be a big change between these numbers and the 2019 numbers. One of the things that sticks out if you look at this second to the last little bullet point is in 2018, officers had used force less than 5% of the time. So policing is a very challenging endeavor. It's ever-changing across our nation, across our world. It's no secret that it's gotten tough over the past 30 years. We live in a different world now than we lived in even 3 years ago. So one thing that I'm extremely proud of is the way our officers interact with our residents. You can see that in today's society, with the substance abuse out there, the violence, that our officers are well trained and they're able to de-escalate situations. So one of the areas that kind of touches everybody in the city of St. Helens is code enforcement. We don't want to live in a community without rules or lawlessness. And I'll be honest with you, we're all going to go home today. I think I can pretty much bet my life on it that none of us will be a victim of a violent crime when we leave here. However, we can't say the same. None of us will have to deal with nuisances or urban blight or anything. So code enforcement is a very important area within the city of St. Helens and specifically our police department. Miramar Moreno is our code enforcement officer. She does a fantastic job of keeping our nuisance codes in order and making sure that we have a community to live in that we can kind of be proud of. So I'm very proud of the work that's being done there. You can see the process. If there is you guys call in, report, can be anything, abandoned vehicle, any type of issue, loose dogs or something. Our whole intent is to gain voluntary compliance. We are not in the business of writing citations or tickets, contrary to Oregon State Police. Okay. I love our relationship with Oregon State Police, I'm only kidding. So we want to gain voluntary compliance. There are ways that if people refuse, we have to do citations or arrest to get into the court system to get them. Sorry, it's kind of sketchy. So one of the areas, being a small agency of only 20 officers, one of the areas that we strongly rely on is relationships. Let's call them partnerships, but I like to call them relationships. I will tell you standing up here that we have two extremely strong relationships within our city. One is with the St. Helens School District. Mr. Scott Stockwell and his staff is nothing short of fantastic, and we work well together. You just seen this week we have a Law Enforcement Appreciation Day where the students and staff of the St. Helens schools show their appreciation. Love that. But it goes a little further besides the school district. We have a couple of projects we're working on with the Sheriff's Department and CCOM, our dispatch center. It's a regional dispatch center. You can see a couple of things that we need to kind of continue progressing is a way to communicate amongst all the agencies. Besides through the radio, we need to continue to push technology. A couple of things we did in 2019, saved money. We implemented a video conferencing system at the jail into our municipal court system, so we didn't actually have to use officers to go pick up the prisoner, bring him to the court. Now we have a video conferencing system. One of the big things on the table is a responsive active shooter. That's what I was talking about how the world changes, okay? We can't sit and ignore it. It's not if it's gonna happen, folks. We have to have the act when it's gonna happen. We try every day to mitigate anything that happens and leading up to that through intelligence-led policing and other avenues, but we also have to be prepared for that. We're working with the the Columbia River Fire and Rescue on that plan. The Sheriff's Office, we're using the range. We're actually training together, where in the past, every entity trained individually, but we need to train together as one regional law enforcement, first responder, police and fire. We also partner with Portland Police Bureau in a good way, that we get some free training out of it, so it saves our city money by our employees to be trained in their ways. And we work with the district attorney, the Columbia County Sheriff's, all the area enforcement agencies to revamp our deadly force plan. I talked about community partnerships being strong. You can see our community events that we have. These events would not be possible without the staff of the St. Helens Police Department and the staff of the city, and community members, to be honest with you. These are great events. If you have not been to, I encourage you to come out and visit one of them. You learn more about your community, and specifically the police department and your neighbors. So this is kind of it for us. What are we doing in 2020? What are our goals? So one of the areas that we need to talk about is our police station. Okay, I'm not going to say that there's not advertisement or a pitch for more money, more personnel, but I will tell you that that police department is 50 years old and it is 2,200 square feet. Your houses, some people sitting in this audience has a house bigger than 2,200 square feet. Okay? We house 20 individuals there, and it comes with a plethora of challenges that we're working through. I'm not sitting here trying to paint a grim picture, but that's an area that we need to continue to focus on to continue the strong police presence in our community and continue to do the right thing. We're going to continue to train our employees as we do, because I believe we have the finest officers in the county. Okay, I'm sure Sheriff Pixley would argue that, but I stand by that. Brian Pixley and I are very good friends. We're going to continue to retain the best employees possible. The reason that the policing is so well in this county, specifically St. Helens, is because of who we select to be police officers. We are hiring, by the way, if anybody's interested. We're going to reduce our crime 5% within our community. Okay, this is a challenge of tracking how we can do that. So basically, how do you measure the effectiveness of your police agents? Do you measure it by the amount of arrests? Do you measure it by the use of force, the low amount of use of force? How do we measure, how do you know as residents and citizens that your police department's doing the best job? Well, I can tell you how we measure that. It's by crime. And I have challenged the employees of St. Helens Police Department that we are going to reduce the crime in the community by 5%. This week I had a meeting with TCOM folks, and we're looking at implementing a new crime data system so we can now deploy our resources based upon data. I am a big proponent on policing with a plan. What that means is that when our officers leave that station every day, they have a plan. They just don't drive around aimlessly. They know what to do. We need to start tracking our hotspots within the city, tracking who calls 911 on a routine basis, and we have to come up with plans, not just to continue to respond to these calls, but how do we fix it? Okay, that's our goal, is to reduce that crime by 5%. All right? And hold me to it. This time next year, hold me to that. Okay? If we haven't reduced it, we're going to look at why. What can we do better than we haven't? And if we have reduced it, what do we do right? How do we build upon that? Those are questions that I ask my staff every day. We're going to continue to partner with our other entities within the community. And a big goal for us is to increase our traffic safety. Remember I said we're probably not going to be a victim of a violent crime? Okay? Well, I can tell you this, that it doesn't mean that we won't be a victim of a traffic accident. Okay? Especially with those Washington plates that come through our city. I'm just kidding, right? Just kidding. Anybody from Washington? Just kidding. So anyhow, so we also need to increase our officers' productivity. That doesn't mean we're going to increase writing tickets, okay? That doesn't solve anything. Writing a ticket corrects driving behavior for 3 days. That's all it does. But we want to increase our productivity so our officers out in the community, meeting our people, our residents, because you are our eyes and ears of what's going on in our community. So that's basically what I have to say. But before I turn this microphone over to Margaret Jeffries over at Library, I just want to point out something. I'm going a little off script here. October 2nd of this year, we had an active shooter in the city of St. Helens. Does everybody remember that? It shook us to the core, okay? If everybody turn around and look at that officer back there, he's kind of strikingly handsome with a hat on. It's Officer Elijah Merkwong. He's out here, he's probably going to hate me for it. So I'd like to give Officer Merkwan, who saved countless lives that night, a round of applause. The reason I'm really proud of all their employees, there's a sergeant standing right next to them trying to get out of the way. That sergeant Evan Eustace, who trains Officer Merkwan to save those lives. And they would never seek this recognition on their own. They're very humble individuals, but that's the finest officers that we have on the police department. We have all fine officers in the police department. That's a representative of our community. That's what we get with this police department. So what can you do as a community for your police department? Continue to support these officers. Continue to support your community. Volunteer. That's what makes these communities great. These small communities are fantastic. We have one of the best. I've been around the United States like many of you. This is one of the best communities we've been in. We absolutely have challenges here and there, okay? If you ever go on the Four Seas, I've never seen so many loose dogs in my life. It's a challenge, but I gotta tell you, all jokes aside, this is a fantastic community. Please continue to support the women of the St. Helens Police Department, the individuals up here who run this city, and thank you very much for your time. I'd like to introduce Margaret Jeffries from the library. She's on this side, who's gonna come up next. Thank you.
And of course, Council Topaz. Did you want to say a few words?
Margaret's so good, I'm going to let her do all the talking.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. And I want to give greetings to everyone listening out there in the library, out in Radio Land. You can tell I have my brain on the library. I know there's a lot of content on the slides, and I may repeat some of this for the benefit of the listeners. Access to the best information for lifelong learning, self-development, and life enhancement. This is a portion of our library mission statement, but providing that access is our mission, and the entire staff works to fulfill the community's need for information, whether it's for educational, vocational, or recreational purposes. Last year, the library had 67,477 visits by community members who came for the variety of services we offer. And you may wonder how we know that. We have door counters. 2,029 people attended 280 programs for adults, and 7,935 people attended 321 youth programs. They may have come with their young child or grandchild to story time. Maybe they came to learn to knit or how to play the ukulele, to hear an author, research their family history, or write the next great American novel. In addition to the traditional items associated with the library, such as books, magazines, and movies, the library's collection also includes non-traditional items such as Wi-Fi hotspots, ukuleles, science kits, and cultural passes. And for all the airplane enthusiasts, our newest cultural pass is for admission to the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville. I'd like to tell you about some of our programs and services. We have a vibrant program for youth. Each week there are story times for babies, toddlers, and preschoolers. This supports the development of early literacy skills with songs, rhymes, finger plays, puppets, and of course stories. It's one of the happiest and the noisiest times at the library. Library programs don't always happen at the library. Our youth librarian provides stories, times at Head Start and in other settings, And she visits K through 12 classrooms in our school district to participate in their programs and events, but also to share information about library services, such as how to access an online database to help with research for homework assignments. Make It is our maker program for youth ages 7 to 12, and that emphasizes learning through doing, whether using a sewing machine, dot and dash robots, stop motion animation, or Legos. This program is the brainchild of our youth librarian, and thanks to her creativity, it continues to be fresh and fun. The summer is the busiest time in the library. Adults, teens, and children are provided special programs and incentives to encourage everyone to keep creating, exploring, and reading during our Summer Library Challenge. The St. Helens Public Library Ukulele Orchestra will celebrate its 5th birthday on February 8th. We hope you'll join us for lots of music and birthday cake. If you're interested in genealogy, writing, art, fiber arts, photography, or reading, we have groups with these interests that meet at the library. Whether it's the visit this past fall by New York Times bestselling author Amy Stewart, or local history presentations by the Columbia County Museum Association, our community shows a real desire to learn new things. And speaking of learning, we support college students in the community by providing test proctoring services at no charge. I would like to share 4 library highlights from 2019. First, through word-of-mouth buzz, the Make It program caught the attention of the Northwest STEM Hub, and our library received $20,000, only one of 2 grants that were awarded in a tri-county area. These funds were used to develop curriculum, purchase equipment, and to hire an intern from St. Helens High School. The second highlight was the catalog merger with the Scappoose Public Library. 2 years ago, we joined the Passport program, which enables our patrons to obtain cards at other participating libraries. This set the stage for a shared library catalog so that our patrons can see online what resources are available at both libraries. This merger improves access to materials, it reduces costs, and it creates a framework that is capable of expanding to include other libraries in our county. Third, our reference librarian built a community of local genealogy enthusiasts called the Genial Genealogists, and they've been meeting monthly for 2 years. This fall, a reference librarian joined forces with a local professional genealogist to create a full-day conference with 2 separate sets or tracks of classes. It was an amazing success. So we plan to host the conference again in the fall of 2021. The 4th highlight was the creation of the Library of Things, which facilitates continued learning and creativity at home and in the community. Cultural passes and ukuleles have been available for checkout for several years, but with the addition of Wi-Fi hotspots, 3D pens, robots, and science kits, this collection is really taking shape, and I'd like you to look forward for more things to be added in the future. Was a very productive year. So, what are our goals for 2020? We want to continue to build on the efforts that we began in 2019. First, we want to find options and funding for a courier service between the St. Helens and the Scappoose libraries. This will make it even easier to borrow items from each other. We would also like to explore the creation of a maker lab in our building for continued hands-on science and technology programs for youth and adults. And of course, we will continue to offer a broad array of programs and services to meet the needs and interests of our community. Thank you for your support of the St. Helens Public Library. Our youth librarian, Gretchen Calderup, and I will be available afterward to answer your question. And unexpectedly, our reference librarian is also here today. I'm not sure if she's going to stick around, but we have 3 librarians here to answer your questions. If you aren't able to stop by our table today, please drop by the library. We would look forward to talking with you. And now I'd like to introduce City Administrator John Moss and Councilor Jenny Collison.
I'm John Wall. I'd really like you to give a hand to Margaret, who's really got a spectacular library, and you really got to go over there and see it.
I'm John Walsh, I'm the City Administrator at the City of St. Helens, and I'm going to be giving the Community Development Report because in my additional duties as City Administrator, I also oversee the Community Development Department. Talking about the Community Development Department, talking about the thank you. Talking about the building department, planning department, economic development activities, and also tourism falls into that department. So I've been with the city for a number of years, and it's really been an honor and a privilege, and frankly humbling to work through the recovery of the recession and the transformation and all the positive things that are happening in the community. And I just wanted to put that out there. So let me start by the building, and I should note that Councilor Carlson is the liaison to planning, and Councilor Locke is the liaison to the building department. So there's a plural there. So. Building activity things are really busy in St. Helens, and really busy in the building department and across all departments, but we're seeing kind of unprecedented uptick in building activity. And the role of the building department is the city operates a building department, not all cities do. The purpose is to ensure public safety, we comply with the building codes, reviewing building permits and plans, and inspecting and compliance, and taking enforcement actions if necessary as well. The city also provides these services to the city of Columbia City. People may not know that, and that's an attempt to help defray costs and get better value from our department to our neighbors. So there are currently around 250 housing units under construction. It's kind of an interesting mix. Typically, we've seen single-family homes in the history of St. Helens. We're starting to see diversity of housing types. Still having single-family, but there's multifamily apartments, different housing. There's common wall homes, and there's about another 250 in the pipeline. So we're definitely on path for our growth trends. But it's not all residential. There's also non-residential buildings, including the building we're in. That was at the Plymouth High School across the parking lot. There are both projects that were supported by public funds. And it's really encouraging to see the community investing in itself, investing in its children and its future. And it's nice to have these points of pride to hear and Superintendent Stockwell for that. Planning, I'm going to move on to planning, still on the same slide here. I'll move quickly through the other slides. It's also very active. When we talk about land use planning, we're talking about short-range planning, long-range planning. Short-range being the activity related to building permits. Typically, it's day-to-day activities when it walks through the door. And then on the other side of that, we have the long-range planning, which we're working on big plans, master plans, and 20-year visions, and things of that nature. And we've done, I think, a pretty excellent job, especially when it comes to economic development, of securing outside funding to take a look at that. A lot of community engagement efforts that have been a part of these planning activities and waterfront activities that we've been working over the past several years. So some of those include the Riverfront Connector Plan. More recently, we've done a housing needs analysis that shows we definitely there's an unmet housing demand for sure. And then the framework for the waterfront. You get a big piece of that. It shows some transportation plans along, including the transportation plans along US 30, the Gateway Plan. There's a Riverfront Connector Plan that connects the highway to the river and back to the highway, along Plymouth there, and down to through the former Vineyard Park. The next slide I want to show you is and I think this is a good context slide. I didn't show this slide often when I'm talking about, it just shows the magnitude. When we start talking about the waterfront and what it means to the community, it just scale of the project. In 2015, after a fairly significant environmental diligence effort, the city acquired on the north end there, the Green Riverfront District expansion of 24 acres there. The St. Helens Industrial Park, 204 acres. And sandwiched in between the middle is what we're calling the existing wastewater lagoon, which is the central waterfront study area. And that's a concept whereby the lagoon would be filled, the existing wastewater facilities would be relocated, and we were relocated to an area that would be appropriate for that, and there'd be more waterfront development opportunities there. So it seems to have come out the gold here. This is a picture of the waterfront from the water from the Vineyard property, and it's not too hard to imagine a road connecting from one end of the site to the other with riverfront trails, public access ensured. And one of the primary reasons the city took a role in acquiring the property was to ensure good outcome with like waterfront access, the transportation connections, and getting the kinds of uses we want to see out there. And most importantly, or not most importantly, but also importantly, is the economic development opportunities and opportunities for private investment. We'll get, activate this space, be the kind of the central hub of the future of the community, as it was 200 years ago. So we've been working over the last few years with a developer on a mixed-use development, including a hotel, and 120-unit boutique hotel, restaurant, extension of the Strand Street with mixed use with retail on the ground floors, residential above. And those plans were stalled for a while, but they recently kind of reunited, and we're picking up and trying to work on them. So why we've been, that's really brief on economic development, but lastly, I wanted to talk about was the role of tourism in our community, how over the last, well, we've been doing tourism since like 2001 when the city initiated a tourism movie. More recently, we're on the map, the St. Helens is on the map as far as its Halloween kind of event, and we had an uptick, and in 2014 we had this idea to try to do something with tourism to kind of make Halloween into an event, and it just shot up virally. Give me some visual comfort there. Maritime Festival, the 13 Nights on the River, look at the parade right there. Look at the year before, it was half that. The year before, it was half that. Again, it's just the almost exponential growth and interest in St. Helens is just very positive. Why are we doing it? It's, supporting local business is certainly part of it. To elevate the image of St. Helens has really been the carrot in there. And when I'm traveling around the region, and even I was at the Portland Boat Show a few nights ago, and I'm talking with members of the boating community, and they're just in awe and inspired by St. Helens kind of coming into its own, and they're really pleased to see that finally happen. I think other than that, our station's going to be over here on the side right there. I'm going to take an introduction to Shanda Dugan, our recreation coordinator. Recreation is a relatively new program that's been developed, and it's been taken off like wildfire, and Shanda will share some highlights of that.
All right, so thank you everyone for coming today. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our recreation program that was started back in 2018. It's a partnership between the City of St. Helens and the St. Helens School District. We have some 2018 program highlights, and then I added some 2019 program highlights, and then what we are looking forward to in 2020. So our recreation program mission is building community through activity. Our goal is to offer free and low-cost activities for citizens of all ages to enjoy. We started an after-school program that we call SHARP, so it's St. Helens After-School Recreation Program. That is housed over at one of our elementary schools, but all of the elementary schools have access to it because the buses bring the kiddos over to us every day. We have anywhere from 30 to 40 kids each day that we have until 6 o'clock, and we do different kind of club-like activities with them. So some highlights that we have coming up is we will be in this school, which we're super excited for, starting in February, twice a week, offering free after-school activities for the middle school students. Firstly, that we have facilitated is basketball that starts on Monday, and we have over 375 kids sign up for that league. So on Saturdays, I'm sure you'll see lots of kiddos with their yellow or white jerseys on, and that's what they're out doing is playing basketball, and we're hopeful that that also helps with local businesses, people going out for coffee or breakfast or dinner, and just kind of really boosting that part of our economy as well. We had movie nights in the park, so if you guys ever came down to the park last summer, that was something that was put on through the recreation program, and we plan on continuing to do them. We also went to the pool and did a swim movie, so we played Monsters, Inc., we did Zumba while the kids were in the pool, so that was a lot of fun. We had 33 youth activities the last 3 seasons, 43 adult activities, and we were able to employ 8 high school students over the summer camp. So we had summer camps that happened throughout the summer. We were in session as soon as school was out, and we went all the way until the week before school was in. We had the kiddos from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, so that was a good time. And we were able to bring in some youth volunteers and just kind of make that connection with the community. So our 2020 program goals is to increase quality partnerships with local organizations, expand the after-school care programs. We would love to be able to be at each of the elementary school, and we have some work with staffing to get to that point because it does take a lot of staff time to be able to facilitate that. Collaborate with local sports leagues, which will be having soccer this year as well. So that's something that you'll see upcoming. Retain and development our talented staff. We have a very small staff, but we're very mighty. We all live in this community. I myself have lived here for 20 years, raised 3 kids through the St. Helens School District. We have a lot of staff that have went to school here, played sports, done art activities, band, so we really try to find those people who can help facilitate those activities and be a part of this community. And let's see, you guys haven't heard of Griffin's Place. They provide services to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we've been really trying to bridge that gap and provide more inclusive programming for everyone. So we're all doing the same things together and just seeing how that all fits in together. So we have a sensory-friendly Santa event. You could schedule a time, you could go see Santa when you needed to, or if you decided you didn't need to see him, that was okay too. And it was welcome to everybody, but we just added a few extra things that made it a little less overwhelming if you just needed a little bit more support. Let's see. And I think that's it for us. So I appreciate everybody. So everybody asks actually how they can help me. And the thing is tell people about us. The more you tell people, then they come to our activities, they look up to what we have offered. And if you'd like to volunteer, we're always looking for citizens who have wonderful ideas and skills to come and teach it to kids or our seniors or any ages in between that. So with that, I will be at the back table. I do have some catalogs there. If you would like to see what we have going on for the winter session. And I'm going to introduce our amazing partner. Scott has been an amazing partner in all of the recreation program things that we've done. So this is Superintendent Scott Stockwell.
I'm a bit here. We're going to get my PowerPoint up. Does that have sound, Rachel? Because I do have a short video I wanted to show. Do I need to come over with the microphone? Yeah, all right. Okay, so where we at? There we are. Again, I appreciate your time coming out here, and I'm excited that you get this experience. St. Helens Middle School, as it is now, this is a beautiful facility, and really want to thank our community for supporting our children. This is fantastic, state-of-the-art stuff. So if you get a chance, wander around a little bit. This is our school district mission statement: strengthening the community through exceptional schools. We like to keep it short. I think back to a story about President Kennedy walking through NASA, and he stops janitors sweeping the floor, and he says, "Hey, what do you do here?" The janitor says, "Well, I'm putting a man on the moon, Mr. President." And so that's why our district has a very short mission statement, because we want everyone to understand that our mission is strengthening community through exceptional schools, and we believe them mutually exclusive. You can't have great schools without a great community, and you can't have a great community without great schools. And so we're excited to move that forward, and I want to talk a little bit, as the microphone cuts out, I want to talk a little bit about how we're going about that in St. Helens. Okay, so this is your typical second grade classroom, circa 1976. I know it's 1976 because I can identify the bicentennial shirts that some of the young men are wearing. There's also a really good-looking young man right there that you might recognize. Brown face, you can pick that out pretty clearly. So if you look at this typical class at McBride Elementary, 1976, 20 students. Out of those 20 students, we're pretty homogenous, we're pretty white here. 80% of our parents worked at Friesen Lumber, Boise Cascade, maybe Multnomah Plywood, Boyfordville down here. So 80% of our families worked in the mills. 20% of our families in this group work in the school district, which the school district is currently, I believe, the largest employer now in the community. But 20% work in the school district, small businesses, or their parents commuted to Portland. So that's 1976, a long time ago. Now, oops, jumped ahead. 2020. Things have changed, we've talked about that. The change is, this class, and it disappeared on me, there you go. This class, in the year 2020, it's not 20 students, it's 26 to 28 students. 45% of those children are experiencing economic disadvantage. 20% of those children are children of color. 17% are in special education. At least one of those children go home to a family where English is the second language. So things have changed, and how we do business has had to change since 1976. This is really bad, isn't it?
It wasn't this meeting.
It wasn't.
I could just use my coach voice. But is that better?
Yes.
All right. Put this aside. So our job is to educate the whole child in St. Helens School District. And that's what we're going to do now. It's a challenge. Right? We're up for it. Thank you, because that took a lot of work. And so a number of years ago, I was sitting back in a training, and I saw this picture. I think the kids call these memes now. I saw this, and I thought, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I want to do in our district. We do whatever it takes to help all kids, right? So if this kid needs more boxes, he gets more boxes. And as I was getting excited, every classroom has it. Somebody in the back raised their hand and said, that's the worst picture I've ever seen. But look, you're taking away from this kid to give to this kid. My kid in the middle doesn't get anything. Hold on, that's not what it's about. It's about doing what you can for all kids. That's what we're trying to do here in St. Helens. But it continued, and people really got focused on the meaning, on all the different ways to look at how to show equity. But I don't think it's about equity per se. I really think it's about all people, or all children. All means all in the St. Helens School District. So I'm going to talk a little bit how we get there. It's a challenge. We're making progress, but it's ongoing work. I think most people are familiar with Maslow's. And I talked about things that change. This is a big piece that has changed for us in education, because we want all children to succeed, and we know to succeed, we have to get them up there to that blue triangle, self-actualization. That's where every child meets their true potential. And the building blocks don't necessarily have to be in order, but if you're missing one of them, if you're missing safety, if you're missing a meal, if you're not feeling like you belong, there's an issue. And it's a challenge to get the child up to meeting their self-actualization or their true potential. And when we talk about every child succeeding, every child making it to their true potential, we know that all potentials are a little bit different. Just like I would love to be an Olympic sprinter, but the length of my legs are never going to make me an Olympic sprinter. I might be as fast as I can if I have all these things in place. I'm still not going to be an Olympic sprinter, but we may have somebody in our school district that could be an Olympic sprinter. We want them to be an Olympic sprinter, so we have to put all that stuff in place. And back in 1976, most of this was in place in the home or in the community, right? And I'm not naive to think that there weren't problems in 76, but things have changed. So how do we go about that? First of all, in the district we have great educators working very, very hard to care about kids. The next piece is professional development. We know a lot more today about how the brain works than we did 5-10 years ago. And so there's a lot of training to bring our staff up to speed, and that's what we're working on. The next thing are resources. So as we came out of the recession, we hadn't updated our curriculum materials, technology to the rate that is advanced. So recently we've added a curriculum cycle, we've redesigned our budget so we can provide the resources. But beyond just textbooks and iPads and that type of thing, resources include facilities like this. And this is how our community supports us and works together. And then social emotional learning. That's a big piece. And you've probably seen, I think Channel 8 did Crisis in the Classroom or something like that. That was a real thing. It wasn't just in St. Helens or Portland, it was across the country. And we were working really hard to support the emotional well-being of all children. We've done a lot of things. We've put in emotional support coaches in our elementary schools. We've got calming corners. We have mindfulness breaks.
And we're seeing some significant increases. So at Room Clear, which is, you have a little guy that's out of control throwing books and pencils and scissors. We want to get the rest of the children out of that classroom. That's a Room Clear. It happens. 2 years ago, last year even, we had upwards in our elementary schools, roughly close to 100 Room Clears. That's a lot. That's a lot of disruption to the classroom. This year, we've had right around 10. Significant change. And that's the work we've been doing around social emotional work. Now, all that together is great, but there's something missing, and that's relationships and partnerships. And so you have to have a strong classroom relationship with all those working together for our students to reach their true potential, right? And then the school has to have a good relationship. The adults have to like each other, work well together. And then finally, the same thing with the community. We need to wrap our community around our students so they can be successful. That's why our mission is strengthening communities through exceptional schools. And that's how we're going to get all students to succeed. We can't do it alone. Now, how are we kind of going about that? This is what it says right there. You can read that. We've got a resource center. It's right over here, the former CCEC school. We're turning that into a community resource center, a school district resource center to support families with social emotional concerns, parenting classes, developing resources, pointing them directions so they can access our food bank, where to get clothing, where to have housing. So when a student comes in, we can start assessing and filling that missing gap that Maslow talks about, and we can get them up to that blue triangle. The other things that we're doing is an initiative called Connect St. Helens. And this is putting together caring adults. There's training around social emotional and really reaching out and bringing our community back together. So you saw that I went to McBride and I grew up in St. Helens. And I know as a young man driving, when I first learned to drive, I was driving down Columbia Boulevard and I didn't have my seatbelt on. By the time I got home, my parents knew because another parent saw me driving down the road without my seatbelt on and I got in trouble and got the keys taken away. We don't have that so much nowadays because of social media is a big piece. The internet, people think they're connected, but they really don't. They don't know your neighbors like we used to. So this initiative that we're working on, I want you to watch for it, be a part of. It's just about knowing each other and knowing each other's stories. Now, we just wrote a grant with the state and received $200,000 to support that work in the community. So we're very excited. And so you'll be seeing more of this. And I really would encourage you to be part of it because that's how, as a community, we're going to create exceptional schools in St. Helens. Also through partnerships. This is very exciting to me, and truth be known, I really wanted after-school programs in the school, and I wanted activities for our kids, so reached out and started working with the city and have a partnership, and I thought maybe 10 years down the road, but Shauna is amazing. We've got fantastic after-school programs in our schools, in our community. This not only brings value to our children, this brings value to your property, value to the community. So this is super exciting. I really can't thank Shauna enough. She's amazing. Quarterly, we have a partnership with our faith-based group, and that's a group that tends to be left out when people get worried about church and state stuff. That's not what it's about. It's about working with people. And so we meet regularly. I visit with our faith-based group. They do things in our schools such as support reading programs as volunteers to, we have one church that has taken over and adopted Plymouth High School, and they host and cater the entire graduation. So it's great work to be partnering because they serve the same folks that our schools serve. We also work hard to have a strong partnership with our first responders. We meet quarterly. We generally will have a short presentation, and then we'll do tabletop activities. And we don't like to talk too much about it, but sometimes bad guys come to our schools. And we want to know how our police officers are going to respond. And we want to know how our educators are going to respond. So we come together, sit around the table, and talk about different scenarios. We do that with the city police, the county police, occasionally when the state police have time, they'll come in. Other school districts also from Columbia County join us on occasion to do tabletop activities to help keep all of our children safe and be prepared for the things that we really don't like to talk about. The next thing on here is our website, and I want to point out good news. There's a lot of great things going on in the St. Helens School District. Just like you've heard, there's a lot of great things going on in our community. And so here's a little premiere. This is this week's good news. You can see the National Law Enforcement Recognition piece. And then there's a guy, you can see our teacher of the week. We've got some work going on with Robotics Club. And up top is McBride celebrated one of our former teachers for going into a mission. Super exciting. Here's some work that we've done around building out and planning to change St. Helens High School into a facility like you're sitting in now. The Renovation Remodeling Club, this is a unique program in St. Helens. We flip houses, and we're actually doing quite well flipping houses, making some money. That pays for the teacher, it pays for the equipment. They put together a video on a weekly basis. They're fantastic. So if you can subscribe, just go to the website. I suggest clicking on if you can't get in, click on the video watch through. They're great. And then this month is School Board Appreciation Month. We've got to give a shout out to our school board folks. More pictures of our support for our law enforcement community. Now, here's my movie. You're gonna kind of show, because I'm not sure if it's gonna have the volume. I'll give you this. Let's see if it works.
When I was a young man, I would hit that ball.
Oh no. I dropped my microphone on.
When I was a young man, I would hit that ball straight over the tree and onto the creek. Of course, when I was a young man, that tree was only a few feet tall.
Trust your own judgment. Make it happen. RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland.
So, I love that because when I was a young man, this was a brand new high school. And that class back in 1976, second grade, that's what this school was built for. It's not built for that class in 2020. So, brilliant design back in 1978, 80, 3 core buildings. This building here is building A. Primarily there was some upgrades to it, but it was originally constructed in the mid-50s. Then the other 3 are from 1980. These 3 are in fair shape. Building A is out of shape, and it really needs to be replaced. And I'm going to share a little bit. I'm going to give you a tiny bit of a bond pitch. I'm trying not to give you a hard sell, but you can see what we can do when a community comes together by looking at this building. If you go to the high school, you'll see something different. So, what we did is we've gone through a process. We started, almost a year ago. What do we want to do with the high school? We determined and looked at up to $65 million to ask our community support. That seems like a ton of money. To build a brand new high school is anywhere from $120 to $200 million. Portland Public's been remodeling their schools, and their remodels are averaging about $150 million. So we're hoping we could get it to $65 million. And then we spoke with our community, and they said, yeah, we love this. We know the high school needs to be upgraded. towards 65 million. So we took that information, and actually this past week, we had groups of folks come to a district work session, laid out a plaque drawing of the school, and then we selected items that added up to 65 billion. And they had a challenge, bring that to 50, bring that down to 40, now bring that down to 30. So we now have an idea of what that looks like, and the next steps for us is for the board to determine exactly where that sweet spot is, where we can provide our community a new school that serves St. Helens for the next 50 to 100 years, and that we feel it was a good activity. So a couple of quick pieces and I'll be done here. Improvements with the four buildings. We have over 80 doors. Controlling access to that high school is impossible. We also put in a controlled vestibule. You saw that if you came in this direction. This is what all of our new schools have. We're moving to do this at our elementary schools when we can. You walk in, you got that kind of a lobby area. You have to go into the office before you can access the school. The next thing is repair and update aging buildings. Essentially, as I said earlier, Building A has served our community well, but it's time to put it to rest and rebuild on top of that spot. You can see some of it, our staff does a great job piecing things together, but things like HVAC and boilers from 1950 really are tough to keep together with barbed wire and tape. The next piece is we need to modernize our career tech labs. These labs were great, and actually they have almost the exact same equipment, in some cases the same equipment that was there when I was in high school. Things have changed over the last 40 years, and we need to update those because our kids are competing with children and students that have significantly more access to better equipment, and then we expect them to do great things. It's amazing what our children are doing now. Just think what they could do if we gave them what they deserve. And then we need to reconfigure, as I said, Building B. Great planning back in 1980, but a tremendous waste of space. Here's an example. The plan for this was you have a hallway and then you have classes off of a pod. Those are supposed to be teacher offices. Well, every teacher wants their own classroom. They never had it never worked where the teachers stayed in their office and then they went to a classroom that was kind of set up for anybody who wanted to use it. They wanted to put their posters and want that up there. So for the last 35, 40 years, they've been kind of looking like that. We could utilize that by reconfiguring, remodeling the inside of the building. And then we need to update our athletic facilities and auditoriums, particularly our outer soccer fields and our locker rooms need to be up to date to meet current standards. This is a conceptual drawing. One thing that we definitely want to do is connect the school, Building A, Building B. Right now, this is what it looks like, but it will certainly change, and when we pass the bond, May 2020, there'll be a lot more work, and we hope that all of you can help provide feedback on what that looks like. So that is everything I have. This is a great community. There's a lot of great things going on, and we need to continue those moving forward. I'll be sitting back there to answer any questions that you might have, and I really appreciate your time.
So I think, are we going back into the slides to see on this? Yeah. I can hear my voice, that's what cut out of me. So, really want to thank everybody for showing up. Want to thank our city staff. You know, these are some hardworking people that, very talented. Yes, they get paid. We do pay them, but they are very, very talented and can be working for other cities, probably for a little more money. So we appreciate and applaud you for all your efforts. Thank you very much. Mr. Carlson, Bill Bass, Councilor Lott, and Council President Morton, for, this is something that we do because we love this community. The bottom line is, why not St. Helens? Right? It's a great place to live. When we're looking at this future planning, our predecessors did not really think about it too much. We have those big mills that have the money available. If we needed something, we just went to them. We asked them. We asked the people that were working there because they were living wage jobs. When you're making almost $100 grand back in the 80s, that's a lot of money. That's what Boise's, Mobile Plywood, Crown Zellerback is what we missed, which was Armstrong, which is now closed. We also have Crown Zellerback in, or Owens Corning, Crown Zellerback in Columbia City. So all those are gone. We're trying to bring development back. Councilor Lott mentioned the industrial property that we're trying to get out. What we can do it, we're in partnership with the court, and I would like to state that this administration is all about partnership, where it wasn't before. We're getting ready to have a joint meeting with the county. They've never had one. City Hall's right here and the county's right there. We really never talked prior to me coming in, I guess, and I think that's why I hope I bring a sense of community. I love this town. I care about it deeply. We need a good place for our kids. That waterfront development is bigger than you and I. It sets a precedent for a long time to come. And I want people 50 years down the road to say, hey, those guys got it right. So that waterfront, John said that we have a developer in mind, but we're not locked in. If you know anybody who's interested, tell them to bring their A game because we're ready to move forward with it. We're also tearing down the fences down there. We're doing what we can with that waterfront. Expansion of the park. So you'll have opportunities in the future to actually, the public can come down and maybe break out some dirt. Let's expand that park. Let's just do it. We can do that on a minimal cost. So that's the type of ideas we're going to go forward with. Like I said, we get the second lowest tax in Columbia County, which is a struggle. But with you guys are what make this happen. And we are here to work for you. So, again, thank you for coming. Make sure you fill out the survey. I'm looking at Rachel, she's shaking her head yes. And visit the tables. My job is also to know what all these guys are doing and then inform you. So if you ever have a question, feel free to call me. I am pretty well informed by each councilor and staff. If I don't have the answer, I will make sure I get the answer for you. So thank you for coming here. Thank you.
Mayor, rather than going to the tables, may I ask a question that I think has general applicability?
Absolutely.
And it certainly speaks to your collaboration with the county. It involves the chief. And it is, what are the rules around abandoned vehicles? I keep being called by constituents who have abandoned vehicles on their streets. And the rules apparently are very complicated. You have to post the car to be towed, and right now apparently the tow companies are not being very responsive because the cost is falling on them. Could you help this room, and by extension people that are listening to the radio or the press is here, by clarifying what the rules are with abandoned vehicles and what this city could do to work with the county and other municipalities to be able to keep that problem in control?
Yes, ma'am. Evan, I'm going to let you weigh in on this, but I will tell you this, one of the challenges of small communities are county ordinances and city ordinances vary. So, like Scappoose, Columbia City, they have different ordinances, different laws compared to St. Helens. I talked briefly about the code enforcement officer, but before I get, I'm sure over Sergeant Eustace will be able to talk specifically, but before I get into it, man, what concerns me in your statement, I wish that your constituents would call the police, that's what we're here for, to cut out the building. So if you have any issues, that's why we have these events, these community events, to come to the station or call, and we're responsive to the community. You are our bosses, so I'm not trying to...
Let me clarify. I'm the state senator from this area, so I have lots of communities, and what you said is the problem. They all have different ordinances.
Right.
And what I think the citizens of
But with all due respect, that is at a level higher than I, with the elected officials to come together and work on that. We can only, in the city of St. Helens, enforce the Oregon revised statute, the Oregon laws that we all abide by, and the St. Helens ordinances. I agree with you. We need to get all the agency heads to the table to sit here and tell everybody that's been easy. It hasn't, okay? Because that's one of the challenges of these small agencies that they work for themselves. So that's why it's important. The theme was partnership. But Sergeant Eustace will talk specifically, and I'll go offline with our elected officials to talk about maybe that's an avenue we can go to have one law. Because normally abandoned vehicles don't fall under a state law. You know, state laws are for murder, rape, robbery, stuff like that, you know, and some minor ones. These ordinances have laws that address nuisances. But yes, ma'am, not to way up, yes, that is something that is for further discussion. So I can tell you that to sit here and tell anything about our community in Columbia County, I don't have the authority to do that. I'm only responsible for the city of St. Helens. I do agree with you. I think if we work together on the theme of partnerships and relationships, yes, we can come together and do that. But that, ma'am, that's with all due respect, that's your level. Yeah. But specifically for St. Helens, and you know, I'll let Sergeant Eustace, if that's what you want to hear, what our shooting ordinances are of how we go and tag vehicles and eventually tow them. Is that what you're looking for, ma'am?
I'm just looking for an answer.
Okay.
Well, and I can speak a little, because I know a little bit, because I hear a little bit about what you're talking about. It's basically, if you haven't followed local social media, local media, is that, so out on so-and-so road is been this rig that's been parked in its camper, and it appears they're living there, is what I'm gathering, because I've seen it too, Senator Johnson, and peeking at social media, and they not only is there trash around their place, but they've been there for quite some time, and not in my backyard. It's kind of the deal, and rightfully so. If you have a $500,000 home just right there, you don't feel very secure when you see that around you. It's very tough. You know as well as I do, in my opinion, affordable housing is a myth. I've looked at it long and hard. I've been to League of Oregon Cities. I've sat in on the seminars. Where is the answer? Do we put yurts up? Do we do a community bathroom with yurts? Because that's the only way. By the time a developer comes in and develops property, the price of that property is already so high without government funding. And then if you have government funding, well, why there? Why not here? So there's a big struggle there. Or who's the contractor behind it? Well, who's part of their pocket? You know all the stuff that comes along with that, even though it's not true. But media grabs a hold of it in social media. And that's another thing. Be kind to one another. Ellen was right. For crying out loud. We look like a bunch of children on social media. You know? If you want to know the real story, come to us. Don't believe everything you read. It's a person's opinion that story is being written on. At least come to us, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Okay? So, I talked to you about that a little bit, about how much has politics changed, Senator Johnson, because you are, what, 20 plus years now? A rep and then senator? You said tremendously. It's just brutal. So be kind. Our children are getting beat up on social media. There's going to be a huge problem there. That's what this is about, discovery. St. Helens. We need safe, livable, and care about our children's future. So thank you for coming out. Yep.
Sir Johnson, I can talk to you offline.
Sure.
I would like to do that, but I will tell you again, as the head of the St. Helens Police Department, this is the first I'm hearing this. So that is alarming to me, that we have residents that either go to social media or don't use the resources that come into the police, because we will handle this. This is a broken windows theory, folks. And what that means is simple. We have a broken window in our community, and we allow it to sit there, other windows get broken. And we don't care, okay? We do care. But when we come to a State of the City address and I have a senator that tells me about this issue, that's alarming to me. Come to the police, like the mayor said, come to us. We're here to solve problems together. We're never going to be able to wrest our way out of any problem. We don't have enough jails and prisons, not that we want to do that. We got to work together collaboratively as a community, okay? So it's frustrating for me to hear this for the first time. I don't even know if it's in St. Helens where you're talking, because I don't know. you know?
It's in the county, and the specific instance that I'm working with right now is in the county.
Then all I can tell you, ma'am, is that I can direct you to Sheriff Bixley because they have the jurisdiction. Okay, but however, that is alarming, and I know you're probably hearing this and that, all right? But we're responsible for the city of St. Helens, but collaboratively, I can tell you, we can do better. I'm not gonna sit here and say we're perfect, we will do better, okay? There's meetings, all right? So, but I'll use this topic to tell everybody, implore you, please come to us. We want to have the safest community in Oregon, that's our goal. And we can't do it alone, we need this group, okay? So thank you, I didn't mean to take it.
All right, let's cut off script, but you can go ahead and ask the questions as your parents.
Well, and what the question was kind of interesting for what she just said was, and I grew up in the age looking at concerned citizens too, and seeing what it is, but I was almost always kind of person trying to think of ideas and suggestions for all the different causes that we're all reading on after reading it, or seeing it in the newspaper or like to the other. And I know that everyone's down on the school board too, we're all losing crazy and trying to keep up with just our own one responsibility, let alone trying to deal with everybody's. But I was thinking if there was a place that you can respond to online, that you could put in suggestions of things that anybody could do, from the schools to the library to the police to whatever, and that you could even maybe put it on there that, hey, we're looking at an answer for this, what are you guys' ideas? Something like that, and maybe we can have different sections, you know, so it didn't have to necessarily, school district all reads everything that's referred to the library, the police, or forever, or whatever, but someplace that they can actually put suggestions, that's what it's for, not for how to complain about it or resolve it. And the main reason I thought about too is similar to what she's talking about, how many times it's referred to on there that people didn't even call 911, they didn't call the 1521 emergency, they didn't know who to call. And so maybe even a story that is going on in the newspaper about who you contact for all the different agencies for any of your concerns about anything.
It's amazing to me that people will grab a video, put it up, of something happening that's illegal on social media, and they have not called the police. That's the first step, is to call the police. And again, I'm just going to commend St. Helens is about getting out there and telling the story. You know, and that's what it's about. It's about being personal. It's about getting intimate before you. I don't feel you on social media. I don't hear the tone of your voice. I don't know exactly the crack in your voice if there's something wrong there. You know, and that's why it's important to be in our community and be involved. And I am out there on a daily basis trying to reach out. So I do this job humbly, and I'm grateful, and it's fun so far. I like it. Government is a brutal business, but it's necessary. So, and with that, so feel free to please meet with the librarians over here, the public services. We got development, please, and approach myself if you have any questions. So with that, I think we're gonna close her up.